I absolutely love it when Joe Rogan gets into talks about ancient Egypt, but you love it even more when he starts talking about lost civilizations and Atlantis. In this episode, 1928 with Jimmy Corsetti, Joe Rogan explores all of that with these two independent researchers. It's just no fact checking, no where did you get this information, just letting these guys go, flowing free thought. It's the Joe Rogan that we all know and love. In this clip, we're at an hour and 20 minutes, 1 second, and we're about to hear about these guys talk about the possibility of massive impacts hitting our planet and what that looked like and what that could mean for us now if it happened again. Let's get into it. Coach Colin, coolest high performance coach in the world. You want the absolute best insights to the podcasts and videos you love? Hit that subscribe button. Let's go.
This is the real deal.
So is that what they look like in real life?
They're more elliptical than that in general. So if you look at the LiDAR imagery, but a lot of them, yeah, and so they're overlapping as well.
I can't see, bro. I'm gonna be shooting this thing at airplanes later.
I got one that
Best $18 I've ever spent on Amazon ever.
I got one that'll pop balloons. It's
Really?
so much. Oh, dude, I bought
It'll
a
pop
few
a
years back.
balloon?
Oh yeah, it
fuck?
comes with a little case with safety goggles. You got to put them on.
I learned
That's a
so much
$200
from this show. I learned so much.
I'll bring it.
So these are, what is that in real life? Is that,
So
does it actually look like that?
It depends. Some of them are just farmland. Some of them are still lakes. They have bodies of water in them. They
And
mostly show up with LiDAR.
Oh, look at this, Jamie.
There are a few
Look at
spots
this.
that
Jamie's
you
going to Google Earth.
Yeah, you can see them on Google Earth.
Oh, that's there right there?
That's more of a natural lake, but they're literally everywhere and they overlap. The whole landscape's made up of them.
Didn't they find most of them through LiDAR, though?
Yeah,
so a lot of them
LiDAR.
under the
So
sediment.
they started to see them with aerial photography, and then LiDAR, they just turned up everywhere. Under farmland, I wish I didn't send you the photos of the bays with LiDAR. But it's just the crazy story about their creation is that these are splash damage from a cosmic impact into the ice, and they think it may be related to the Younger Dryas. So one of the impacts into the ice kicks up massive ice boulders that are coming in at 6 or 7 kilometers per second that take 7 or 8 minutes of these ballistic trajectories to come down from Saginaw Bay and then just all over the East Coast and Missoula, and it would have exterminated anything that lived there. It literally liquefied the ground. The ground would have the earthquakes and the impacts would have turned the ground into quicksand, like we see in the aftermath of earthquakes. You have cars that are half buried in mud. Like it literally liquefies the earth. And it was just a saturation bombardment on the East Coast. And it's people now just, we play golf on them and it's all this stuff. But it's a catastrophic landscape, the entire East Coast.
Which
and
is what
likely
you would
off the coast as well.
So this image is what?
Yeah.
This is from South Carolina's government page talking about it.
Carolina Bays. You see they're elliptical. They all orient in a certain direction.
And so the conventional explanation is wind?
Wind and basically water. Yeah, but it doesn't, none of the experiments make sense. There's a guy on YouTube, Antonio Zamora's. He's also written a paper on it and a couple of books. But he shows that there's always been a bit of debate about them. But by far the best I think explanation for them is the ice boulder hypothesis. It's crazy to think about it. Impact happens over here. 8, 9, 10 minutes later, you just have this rain of just destruction coming from the sky that obliterates the entire coast of the United States.
That's what you'd expect if there's something that hit at a high speed and of course there'd be fallout. Things would get sprayed about. It would make sense to find that if the Younger Dryas climate impact hypothesis is true, there would be something like that.
They've done experiments. Yeah, so they've you shoot like a bullet into ice at an angle and it shows like the shattering of ice and the orientation. So we can step backwards from the bays and look at, okay, what's the energy required for the impact and at what angle was the impact coming in? And it's something like it would have been probably a mile-wide impactor up at Saginaw Bay that might have ejected that much ice to do that.
We're so vulnerable.
Yeah,
Cosmic
we're in trouble.
shooting
We are
gallery.
so vulnerable, and we like to think that this is all permanent. I mean, you think about how ridiculous human beings are. We spend most of our lives accumulating stuff, trying to get status, trying to, fuck as many people as we can and get the biggest house. And meanwhile, there's rocks headed our way that are going 45,000 miles an hour that could exterminate 90% of the population instantaneously and completely erase every little bit of information we've ever accumulated, all the knowledge, all of our history, all of our understanding of physics, mathematics, the astronomy, everything, gone. See ya. Goodbye. Welcome to being a fucking ape man again.
Yep.
Welcome to like eating whatever the fuck you can get in your mouth and dying when you're 12.
And having people try to steal all that from you.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? And within like 3-4 generations, people would be. This is what I love, the ancient Egypt analysis. You would be probably hammering a black rock into a shape like this, like a phone, and dancing around a fire, trying to turn it on. Like if we dance around a fire hard enough, then this black rock will turn on and it'll give me the fucking answer to anything I want. Like it's just we'd be talking about plasma TVs like it's a legend in the past.
I mean, we would have no evidence of any of this stuff.
No.
And one of the weirder things about us is we insist on putting our stuff on hard drives.
Oh, God.
Right? And which is the absolute worst thing. And then there was the Georgia Guidestones.
I don't know if hard drives are the absolute worst thing. I don't know. Like, if everything gets wiped out, it's like better to just have all of it gone than to have little pieces of it, you know? Because, like, they can just misinterpret the pieces. I mean, look what we do with all the religious texts that we have, you know? Like, people do wild things because they have these remnants and they're like, this is what it is, and they have no real idea. Could you imagine, speaking to what that gentleman said, Ben, he's like how they would be hammering a rock. What if there's things that we do now like that were because back in the day we had a massive technology towards the thing that we're doing, and now we don't have that technology, we just do it. Like what if before people were linked in to something like Neuralink that was linked into like some AI, and the way that you activated it via your brain was you went like this? Because you had two sensors here in your hands, and when you went like this, when you and it would like spark the thing that was, you know, implanted in your head, and then you could ask for whatever you wanted and you'd get it. And we just didn't know, and we just pray. Who knows? Yeah. That's what I like about this episode. They're just getting out there. If I was in the room, I could say that to them and they'd be like, yup, for sure. They'd be like, that makes sense. I love it. I absolutely love it, man. But what Joe Rogan said, it's so true. It's this is all very temporary, and we're very vulnerable as people and as a planet. Temporary and vulnerable. And it might make you feel like, what's the point of even trying to improve or move forward or you know, better yourself at all? And I would say to that, it makes it even more important that you improve. It makes it even more important that you constantly evolve and chase goals and accomplish goals. I think it's even more important because if 90% of us ever get wiped away, I hope that 10% have been people who are goal setting and achieving things and working hard and pushing outside their comfort zone, because they're going to need to be those type of people if that type of thing happens. If that happens, you're going to need to be one of those people who's been a goal setter and chases their dreams, because there's going to be some hope needed. You're going to need some faith, and you're going to need the ability to work extremely hard. Extremely hard. Can you imagine in that 10% we have Jocko, David Goggins, Joe Rogan's there, Elon Musk is there, you know, like just some really hard-working guys, hard-working, hard mindset. Cam Hanes is there. He's just shooting elk. Everybody's eating elk all day. Could you imagine? You'd feel a lot better if you looked around your group and you saw those guys. Now imagine you were one of those guys in terms of, you know, you built up your mindset. People would feel better having you around. And I know it's a wild concept, and like, what are the odds that everything gets wiped away? I don't know. You'd have to ask somebody. But if the odds are 1 and a number, that would be shocking to me, because we live life like there's no chance of that ever happening. But if there is a chance of it happening at all, that's just a completely different mindset to me, because I had no idea of that. I don't know if you did. Why are you shoveling your snow so aggressively? Do you hear that? I hope you guys don't hear that. But I can hear somebody shoveling their snow like their life depends on it right now. and there's no snow. All right, I got to go check what's going on outside. But check out this episode. It's 1928. Jimmy Corsetti and his friend Ben with a last name that I don't care to mess up right now. Thank you. Joe Rogan Experience, links in the description. Get it.